And then they have scary bites. Okay, skates and rays. Other types of chondrichthyes that you'll find. Skates and rays. These are flattened dorsal ventrally, right? So top and bottom squished together. And they mostly are benthic, so they're mostly going to live on the bottom. Bless you. But you do have some exceptions to that rule. So like the manta ray, the largest type of ray, is going to be pelagic. So it's going to be swimming in the water column. Okay? And like the spotted eagle ray will be pelagic, swimming in the water. But for the most part, they're going to be benthic, resting on the bottom. I'm going to let you copy this down, and then I'm going to show you a picture so that you can see it. So they're flattened dorsal ventrally, and their pectoral fins. The pectoral fins of a ray are enlarged and fused to their head. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let me scroll down so you can see this. Okay, so if this is my shark here on the left, right? So that's what it looks like from the side. Let's see. And then this is what it would look like from the top, right? And then those are its pectoral fins, yes? Okay. For a ray, okay, if you take those pectoral fins and you enlarge them, and then like attach them to the head, right, like that, those are its pectoral fins. Okay, and then the actual body part of the ray is in the middle. Does that make sense? Okay, and then it's got like this long whip-like tail that comes out the back. Okay, so it's got big enlarged pectoral fins. If this is the top of the ray, you'll see like the eyes will be on the top of the ray, but the mouth and the gill slits are on the underside. Okay, so they're on the underneath, the ventral side. They'd be on the other side. And so rays have a benthic existence, so they sit like with their mouth and their gill slits in the sand. Does that make sense? And then their eyes are on the top. They're looking around. Okay. And in order to prevent their gills from getting like all nasty and full of like sand and stuff, because remember as we talked about chondrichthyes, we talked about how like they bring water in through their mouth and then it passes over their gills and out their gill slits. Okay, well, a ray has its mouth and its gill slits in the dirt, right? So if it were to do that, it'd be taking in all sorts of like dirt and sand and water and then passing that over its gills. That would be bad, yeah? If it just did that perpetually. So what they actually have are these things called spiracles that are behind the eyes. Okay, so up here, and you saw them in your shark dissection. They're behind the eyes, okay? And what it does is it allows for them to have their mouth in the sand. The spiracles pull water in, and then the water comes in and then goes over the gills and out the gill slits. So it prevents what we call fouling, or making, like, getting the gills all full of crap, basically. Does that make sense? Okay, so the spiracles allow for them to be able to do that. And some sharks that will have like a benthic existence too, like the spiny dogfish shark, if it spends any time on the bottom, it'll have spiracles. Okay, so what is the difference between a skate and a ray? This is your chart in your notes. So skates are on the left, rays are on the right. Skates are oviparous, meaning they lay eggs. Okay, and rays are going to be viviparous, so they're going to give live birth, and the mother is going to directly nourish the young. Yes, so cute. Skates are also going to have a dorsal fin. Okay, so on their tails they'll have a dorsal fin, whereas rays will not have a dorsal fin at all. Rays are going to have a venomous spine, where skates will not. Skates will have like a thorny back that they will use for protection, whereas rays will actually have like a stinging spine. Rays tend to be larger, skates are smaller, okay? And then the way that they swim is different. So rays will swim by moving their fins up and down, so they'll flap their fins, whereas skates will actually start and create like this ripple effect, starting at the front of their pectoral fins and then moving that ripple along to the back of their fins. So they'll swim like that, whereas rays will flap. Okay, so you can see the two. So here's a skate, here's a ray. Here's like the little dorsal fin on the tail of the skate, and the ray won't have one of those. And then also, some skates will actually have like caudal fins at the back, whereas rays won't. Okay. You can see the spiracle behind the eye. Yeah? Does that difference make sense? Okay. All right, so here's what a stingray spine actually looks like. Okay, pretty crazy. That is in their tail. Okay, and they can regenerate it. So if they sting something for protection and it breaks off, they can grow it back. That's why, like at the aquarium where you were able to touch the rays, they trim those spines to make sure that they can't actually sting you. But that's what it looks like. Notice these backward-facing barbs. Yeah, you see that? So that means that when this comes into you, what's going to happen as it goes out? Yeah, it's going to tear and it's going to be like not good. Yeah, so those backwards facing barbs create like a bigger wound essentially and do all sorts of damage. And some you can get stung by a stingray and maybe get a piece of that spine broken off and then have to have it removed. So rays will use this for defense. So if they feel threatened, they'll whip their tail up, and then that tail will have this spine in it that they will use to stab and hurt you and defend themselves. So here's like kind of a animation, not an animation, a picture for you. So here's like the stingray spine, and then if you step on them, this is how you get stung. So that tail whips up with that spine, and it stings your ankle. Huh? Yeah, it's like attached right there. It typically has like some skin over it, and then when it pops up, then the skin will not be on it. So that's why like you get stung, right? They say, so if you're at a beach and you see a sign that looks like this, so it says like May to October, okay? It says shuffle your feet or you'll do the stingray hop. What that means is that if you're walking like in the water, right? Rays are benthic, so they'll actually like cover themselves in sand so you can't see them, right? So they say that if you're walking in the water, you need to like drag your feet, because as you drag your feet, that actually like gives the ray warning that you're coming, and so it'll sense that you're coming and it'll swim away. Whereas if you just walk normally, you step on the ray and you get stung, and you do the stingray hop, which is like ow, 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 right? I got stung by a ray, okay? So do the stingray shuffle or you'll be doing the stingray hop. And apparently it's like super painful to be stung by a stingray. I've never been stung by a stingray, but it's supposed to hurt like crazy. And their venom can actually make it so that the wound takes a while to heal, right? So it can take like a couple months to heal, all right? So, or longer. Let me show you video. Yeah, Steve Irwin. So Steve Irwin was stung by a stingray. That spine pierced his heart. Okay. Really, what happened was kind of what you saw in that last video, where they were like filming, and so the cameraman was kind of in front, and then like Steve Irwin was kind of above the ray, and then there's like another person. So the ray felt trapped. And it doesn't like to feel trapped, and so it brought its tail up to like defend itself, and it stung Steve Irwin in the heart. And yeah, probably one of the reasons why he did actually end up dying from that was because he pulled it out. So there was actually like 3 months later, an 80-year-old man had the same thing happen to him, and he survived because he left it in and got to the hospital. So it's possible to survive. But I mean, what's your natural reaction when you get stabbed by something? To pull it out, right? If you get stabbed in the heart, I mean, you bleed to death in like 4 minutes. So it's crazy.